Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11. And it's the 12th of August, 1942. We started the invasion in June of 1942 of the Soviet Union. And this is where we are so far. We are on the literal outskirts of Moscow. Moskva, however the hell you're supposed to pronounce it. We say Moscow. I'm noticing we are down at that. I really only just noticed that. 107. Could be a 110. So what we're going to do here is, we don't need all of this research right now, because a lot of stuff we're doing is already sort of dated 1943. So it means we are sufficiently up on it. We'll do that. We are pushing in. We would like to surround Moscow. Take Leningrad. Not just surround it, we have it surrounded. They hold a little bit of excess territory outside Leningrad Central, if you will. And we are pushing towards Stalingrad. We've got Baku. Counterattack the other way. Yeah, we can maybe shift some air power. Let's come up here. I love how I do this. Click on Bomber Command. Let's see, where are you? You're there. Okay, well, you may be useful up there. Maybe we have you. How big is the anti-air units? No, not for that. Trying to find a clear spot. We don't know. Okay, well, let's do some bombing in Moscow a bit, maybe. I mean, Leningrad, didn't I? I said Moscow, I think. Let's. Of course, that wasn't where we were. That's our strategic bombers. Where can we find some? Is anywhere in range? They have. They in range? No, they're not in range. So, where can we move this in range here? We can strategically bomb some more of Soviets to lower their stop attacking. Okay, where you're up here, we're there. Looks like you're doing good work at the moment. Before we just did it again. Looks okay. Keep not paying attention to which was the last thing I just clicked on. Okay, you guys come down to here. Don't have any organization. We may use you to bomb in here once you get there and get organized. So we are pushing there. Trying to hold out here from all this tank spam until we can shift in a bunch more forces as they are heading this way. We're pushing in the mountains. Attack. Good, we were pushing. Yeah, we were going to that way. province, but they'll be able to retreat onto them. They got some heavy AA they might be able to hold. I'll attach you to a air command. And we created another pocket, yay. Turkey, 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 yes, you can have supplies for money. Now, let's see. Support that attack, and so can they get overrun? Attack there. Well, let's close that. We're pushing up in there. And now that we can push here again, let's controlling the direct fire unit. And a control, which we're probably going to stop because we shifted so much leadership away, and I guess also armory training. Ooh, radars. Move that to the top, get that completed. You got something that's so nearly complete, just want to get it completed so then you can then shift to something else. Okay, good, good, good. Right now they can help support their attack. Schweppenberg. I don't know much about Schweppenberg. Maybe I should. How interesting. Okay, yes, you joined in that attack. Yeah. We just come to that. We're going to keep overrunning and pushing. Pockets are great, don't get me wrong, but just simply pushing the enemy, keeping them off balance, in my opinion, is more important. But hey, we pocket and destroy. Yeah, that is most assuredly a good thing. Pocketing and destroying. But also is I'm trying to move you guys up to sort of hold the line on the flanks. Just like this is well, obviously that was sort of pocket too, but overlaying. And yeah, so I'm a little worried about. There's a lot of units now. Yay! Hello! I mean, right now he's going against 3 conscript divisions, but is sort of to push in and around here. But they make it across this river in time, and I'm more worried. Well, a little worried about breakouts from some of these guys. A little more worried about them retaking this city. There for a moment. They're doing their job. We don't want to get you too far up there. As soon as you're no longer defending, smash back. Now that we were sort of pursuing all those guys, but smash back down to the bottom. Keep going. Keep moving east. Armory unit command and control. Yeah, we're in the deficit. Not that it's wrong, I just sort of want to keep on knowing that if I have something there that's actually being researched, not just researched someday, eventually kind of a thing. There is a difference. You can there. Because if I think I'm researching something, but I'm not really, then it sort of gets to be a thing that just a bunch of stuff backlogged and I'm not up on what's going on. Actually, yeah, you come here, smash into those big units. Yeah. This way. I can go here. Right. Broaden our surrounding Moscow, not just like do it one province wide or something. advance. Uh-oh, rebuilding north post. Okay. I guess that it's here. Okay, this group. Oh, they were attacking Moscow. Alright, well. While you're here, let's give it a headquarters. So I'll get combined arms bonuses. Forward to here, right? Or, okay. Oh, it's not letting me because it's a foreign unit or something, I think. Yeah, it has that. Okay, well. Oh well. That was a bit of a waste. But don't worry. There's something I need to pay attention to for the Leningrad front. Okay, you're gonna come out of a line. You'll stay in, you'll stay in, you're in. Sure. Pull you out. We really don't want to have too much more of that. Things just completely collapsing here. See, we are making a dent. Yes, you may have that one. You come up. About this spot. There's lots of divisions. So let me go over again. Look at the getting more and more stats and seeing how much of you are watching what parts of videos. Very high levels of watching, of course, the very first few seconds, and then it goes down to like 5% watch everything on a video, meaning you're fully watching it, which is sort of surprising. It's like 5 or 10% of the people that fully watch the video. But I can then see spikes in different sections of it. It's not just like starts and then, I mean, that's the general trend, is starts really high levels of viewership, which could be just somebody clicking on the video for 5 seconds and going, oh, this is not what I thought it was, you know, not a non-subscriber or whatever. I'm out, you know, that's part of that, of course. But part of it is also as it goes down, but then there are periodic spikes later in the some of the videos that I'm able to look at. And as you, I guess, fast forwarding to what looks interesting, you know, I guess something changes on the screen just to see the progress, because like right now, obviously I've stopped, but so I'm watching that, so I'm learning to, if I want to say things, tips or hints or whatever, maybe to say them up front if the goal is to actually get you to have the benefit of the tip, as opposed to the goal of saying that the hint or the tip is just as a way to keep you here. Like coming up later in the episode, I will tell you how to defeat, you know, the U.S. with 2 divisions, or you know, whatever they do on the, you know, news and other TV type things. What tip was I going to give? Oh, yes, these. Here, Leningrad Region Rail Network and Moscow Region Network and Baltics. And I already did some of them. And you can see some of this area. Obviously, I don't know if I showed you earlier screens, but they were more orangish, less greenish in them. Basically what they do is and it says, the region, and it has any and all province in X region, and there are files that say X region can be a single province, which is sort of ridiculous because you just simply name the province, but say Prussia, and so there'll be a file that will say like East Prussia or E Prussia or whatever, and it will list all of the provinces by number, just a number of all the provinces in East Prussia. And so when you select that, then you could say up partisan revolt risk, or up infrastructure by 1 or 2 or whatever points in that region. You have some of these. Sometimes, like if you want to give control of, say, this region here to Romania by event, you just create this, and then it's better, easier, I think, for the coding instead of specifying them all in the event, but by number. And so people later can come in and do things like that, without having to constantly repeat putting in the numbers. So they've created regions, and then you hit those, which there is a big cost. We can see here, Crimean rail build, minus 2%. Not that bad. Ukrainian rail build, minus 15% of ICs. Belarus, minus 10%. That's because we are building up the railway network. So you are paying for that. These aren't free. And you can see some of the other sort of various construction elements that are costing ICs. But when you hit those, and the Crimea is the smallest one, that's why it's only 2%. I did a few of them. You want to do those. Well, we can see what we are having a bit of a fuel or supply or whatever problem here. Fuel and supply for them. So, but you want to do those, and the code, and I forget exactly whether it says German controlled, but I think it says Axis controlled any or all of those provinces in that region. So if I were to hit the Baltics region right now, which there is the option there, Baltics region rail network, it would upgrade everything except for where the Soviets still control. The reason I didn't go into here is because, as you may have noticed back a few episodes, all of these conscript units will spam once Germany gets to a certain place, certain provinces, get near enough to it. Well, if you're on, and you can trigger it here, and you can rush here, and then they'll come in and they'll sit here and be supplied via the port, and this is just a god-awful, it's fortified, it just, god-awful. You don't want to, we should probably be, I've been sort of, do I want to fall back and defend there, or move, take talent, whatever here, but, so that's why I'm sort of avoiding this and coming this way, and to try to hit their spawn point before they can get well organized. Stacks of 20% organized units. So that's why I avoided that. But so if you hit this now, do you really care if supplies flow through here? Well, I don't know. Seeing as we are running supplies into Narva here, which is helping there. Then once we get Leningrad, we will run supplies directly into Leningrad. But it's sort of the reason why I'm not doing the Leningrad area is I want to have this as much under control as possible, because if you are facing a winter, if you are facing a situation where we have to stop because conditions will just get so bad that attacking will just be useless, you're just attacking into the face of fortresses. Command group, but so you won't get the benefits there. Oh, so if we get stalled out, we are going to need the supplies to flow. If you're able to overrun the Soviet Union in one season, then you don't need to do that. It's your choice. I'm choosing to do it, obviously. But so you want to, generally speaking, control most of the territory. Missing out on one province is probably not an issue, but larger ones. So doing the Caucasus or something now, I don't know that I would do that because I'm not exactly sure what the region size is, and we obviously don't control much of it. So just as a note, that's sort of a good thing to do. They're being attacked by one division that's probably coordination. Just end that one now. Today. Lots of ICs. I think it's generally, if you are going to be upgrading, it is, I would say, generally speaking, a good idea to do so. They are being counterattacked, but they're doing well. Counterattack, so we are going to put some mountains there. Support. Now there are the expresses, which I sometimes get a little confused about. Express to whatever city, they have a few of them. Those you do not upgrade the ICs in a region. They just simply give you an overall bonus to moving supplies of one format or another. I think it's reduced the supply tax, or maybe it's both the supply tax and as well as increase the supply throughput. But either way, okay, you'll want to do those much quicker. You don't have to control the whole region to make it worthwhile. If not absolutely the soonest you can, but fairly quickly. They're doing that, cutting off. It's not another pocket, but okay. You don't need to come there. You can attack here. I think these guys. You should have a. This is. Oh, yeah. Stop these guys. Get out of the swamp. After the swamp, they're good at that. Anybody not moving or attacking? Okay, they're all moving or attacking. You're not. You're not either. You're swamp soldiers. Oh well. Okay. We'll use that one down here. More mobile. I do want some more units up in. Down here, but Florian Gayer didn't look like a good assault. Leningrad type unit. Yeah, but radar training. Very good. Looks like basing as well. So basing helps. Supplies move through bases. Good. In there. That there you go. Those guys here. The rear. Support that attack. And attack the conscripts. That way. And attack conscript. these guys. Push over here. You go to block them. You are ready. Saw something. Oh, it was down here. So they're getting at these guys. Hooked up. When are you doing? August 17th, okay. Okay, well now. Got these guys down for a different attack, but might as well attack there. Oh, yeah. Organized enough. Wise, I don't know. Ground attack. Oh, awesome. Okay, ground attack tactics. Just what I'm doing. Yeah, we can let that go. Leadership. It's really weird seeing the Swedes out helping me. I'm just not used to seeing that. How is the battle going? Okay, they still got lots of units. It's not really too shattered. We don't want to shatter the 110th. Don't we have a new... Yes, fresh division. Go into the meat grinder of war and attack. Okay, one here. Let's see. Yeah, see the hills there, that's nice. Push on them Soviets. You can then here. Close and then. Would be great to take out all of those units. And oh, Icelandic coast, a raider. Okay, well, well, I guess this pronounce it right. That sounds friendly. Okay, attack. Good. Run battle of Tula. Good. Loss of province. Yes, we were retreating out of the province. Airborne warfare research. That is here. Yeah, we'll stop that. And what else did we get? Radio tank communication. Stop that for sure. We can do decryption machine, that will help. Not that I'm against doing more airborne research. In fact, I'm all for it. It's a 43 technology right now, and I'm looking for something that is more actively being used. We're not doing much air. Oh, we can do that. When do you push ahead on something faster than it is, say, required now? When do you push ahead faster than needed? Well, when you're actively using it. Okay, guys, you keep filing down here. Moving forward. Now, get up here, there'll be supplies for them. All good with anti-partisan stuff. Units hanging out in the back, but put these other units forward, forward, forward. Keep them moving, keep them moving. Italy, we give them money for rare materials. Okay. Now, Alright, looks good. And let's find a 69. Yeah, that's it. Now well added to the chain of command. We've got another 10 guns left. Area. Okay. Fuel only has a little. Exactly sure how much that's going to help. Do something. Hopefully positive. Okay, Steiner. Get there and you come up to. Are you gonna probably end up leading our assaults though on launch? Need to be a better commander. That. Support. And defend. And support taking out that big stat. I'll do it with these. Okay, jet engines advanced. Very good. Very good. Jet attacks, yes. Okay, so we want to stop that. Don't need to push ahead of your date on jets. We do have a lot of jet fighter, well, aerodynamics, 42 big jet engines. The jet fighters, so we can actually build them. Now, my advice is, quite honestly, not to do that. Do what I just did. I don't think the new team is working on jets yet. They may be. I know the old team under Panzeru, they frankly admitted that they never really got the jets well balanced. Obviously, they've thrown in a lot of techs here. But if you were to simply build up these fighters, they'll be just about as good. So, you know, jets aren't purely the just because an aircraft is a jet aircraft doesn't mean that it is a wonder weapon. In the 30s, I think it was late 30s, 38, 39, Italy was flying jet fighters in prototype, not in combat. I think it was, and I'm still kicking. The Italian series that I recently did for Hearts of Iron 3, and I know there's at least one poster who, because have had moments of this is going to collapse and fail on me. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. There's been sort of, a bit, hey, I'm putting all this time into watching it, I'll feel betrayed. And I understand that if you just quit it. Well, obviously I quit the Italian series before it was either full Axis victory or defeat. That was not because I didn't think the Axis were either going to win or lose. It was just, Italy wasn't going to be able to win. It was just going to be, I thought, get boring. Trying to fight out in Turkey here, as we were doing. You can go back and look at that. And since you're not controlling Germany, you're not really controlling a great destiny. It's like fighting a great campaign and controlling all of Asia really well, and then having Germany and Italy collapse, and then going, well, why aren't you continuing your campaign of Japan for Hearts of Iron 3? Well, yeah, maybe somehow after playing it for, the amount of daily episodes, a year or two, maybe Japan could conquer the world, or we could maybe fight it down into defeat. Well, quite honestly, viewership goes down, and there will be some that are really, really interested in watching it, but a great number will go down. So I have to keep that in mind. But I normally intend on finishing things. But that Italian campaign was really meant to be, what the hell do I do now? They weren't really ready with the new versions of Black Ice that were sort of coming out, and then just got to wait to get the sub mods all up and ready going. So that was just sort of a delay, and then it turned out to be a really nice campaign up until we saw the inability to fight the Soviets. And I thought it was a really nice series, but I'm still kicking myself for not having TRE. I decided I was going to last 2-3 weeks, get through the 30s, have a war in Ethiopia, and then it was going to be over. So I've got a lot of content for Italy in TRE, which you just don't see. It happens for Italy. One, it covers, like we do, Hans Oland's development of jets. For Germany, it also covers the Italian jet development. Now, the Italian jet development, let's see, if you look at some, at least I've seen drawings. I've never seen a photograph, but I've seen drawings of a German Heinkel, I think it is, type fighter of some sort. Not a main line fighter type, but prototype type thing. That has a, like a jet engine just stuck below it, down below, to a regular, what would be a piston engine fighter. I'm not even sure whether they removed the piston engine, because I think they were so unsure of the, jet cutting out or something like that. But it was, it was designed to fly in it, test flight a jet engine around. Where the Italians at the time actually had a jet. The whole fighter was built as a jet, and that they had the jet engine behind the in the main fuselage behind the pilot. So it took in the air in and around through the front, and sort of, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen the photographs in the drawings of it, and so it comes into the fuselage or something in and around the pilot, and then hits the jet engine behind the pilot in the fuselage, and then pushes out through the tail of the fighter, is where you have that. And you see that in other post-war jet fighters of various types that did that as well in the Western stuff. So it's that kind of thing, and it, from my limited reading on it, it flew nice. It was a nice flying jet fighter. And this was a late, very late 30s. But it wasn't necessarily any faster than, say, your standard sort of racing plane that the Italians were also building. That was piston engine. You know, they did a lot of racing. Italy and other nations did a lot of racing planes, which are sort of fighter development stuff. So it may have been faster than the normal, or faster than any of the biplane fighters that the Italians were using, and maybe even faster than some of the newer monoplanes, but not that much faster. And it was all new technology, and it wasn't necessarily any better than what the current piston engines were going to do. You know, they got a jet, it worked, but it wasn't faster than regular engines. And there are other problems with jet engines, including Germany. By the time it gets jet engines up, or jet fighters up and working, they no longer we have a Croatian Marine Battalion. Well, I'll send that over here. I'm gonna use it somewhere. Is that the quality of the metals used in the jet engine couldn't take the jet engine heat, so they would melt, and they had short engine lives. That was the biggest problem for jets that Germany had. They built they built a bunch of airframes, you know, everything working in them, except for they didn't have enough engines. They couldn't keep the engine production up. That was the real bottleneck for Germany and jets, was the engine production. So jets in and of itself isn't a wonder weapon that automatically gains you air victory. But by the time we're talking about because there was an earlier functional Heinkel fighter that was, you know, again, just a little better than, at that point, a little better than the, you know, whatever the current 109 and 190s were in speed, and that's the main thing. And often with the speed, you have greater turning radiuses, but it doesn't really matter. And turning radiuses, in that sense, doesn't really matter so much as if you're outclassing your piston engine stuff. It's turning radiuses versus similar turning radiuses of similar speed aircraft where it really matters. But, you know, again, it was just a little bit better, and it was a whole new, different production, you know, facilities and setting up costs and other things if you were going to do the Heinkel. Should they have done the Heinkel? I probably sort of say yeah, but as a limited production, mostly to scare the Allies, and just use them over Germany to take out bombers and whatnot like that. But the mere fact that you have jets isn't a wonder weapon. But now the 262, obviously we know the story that it was delayed because Hitler wanted it to be able to do ground attack, and you know, if you're going super fast towards the ground, you know, it's not necessarily the best thing. So trying to develop as a ground attack, you know, with some sort of air brakes and whatnot to momentarily slow up the aircraft to get it on target quick enough. You know, see the target, get on target, you know, be jetting towards the impact with the ground, launch your munitions, and then be able to pull up and out of that all in a good time, you know, can be a problem. So you want to slow it down. And so all of that delayed the 262 coming out. And then obviously you have early work on the MiGs, and you've got the the Viper for the British, the twin-tailed whatever, and then the Americans, the Sabre. No, not the Sabre. It was pre that. You know, they're working on, so that these were coming along, but they really, once you get them really properly developed, not maybe, oh, we got jet fighter because we have a basic jet engine, but big jet engines, aerodynamics, you know, once you really start getting all this stuff in there, it really becomes a whole new ball game, but it really doesn't match the techs of the time, the advantages. But we've got that. Okay, they're pushing down to there. Let's just And we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. And we're ending on August 19th. Yay. August 19th. Oh, you don't know what August 19th was. That was the day that Bonnie Prince Charlie landed in Scotland. He sort of kind of was in Scotland a little before that, but landed in Scotland and officially raised his standard and a rising against the to restore the rightful king of Britain, his father, James III. I just happened to, I know the date very well, but I just happened to notice that it was August 19th. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. It does both help you and me. And, of course, please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.